I'm running out of ways to establish this shot, but I am in Albany, Oregon at the train station, and I'm waiting for a bus. And last week in this same location I said that next week there would be a more substantial trip, and that is today. So let's see how that goes. And just like last week, here's this bus coming in, going to Portland. It'll be a 2-hour ride.
Especially if it's divorced. Actually,
I am just outside of Union Station. I just got off my point bus. It was a little bit late. There's a lot of traffic in the, well, actually everywhere from Wilsonville through the Terwilliger curves. Anyway, I still have more than an hour to wait, so I'm going to go over this way and I'm going to find some pizza. So there is the Portland streetcar. I will be on a much more substantial train soon. It's sunny in the Pearl. A lot of people out on the streets, eating on the streets, walking around, having fun. And yeah, it's just kind of a good place to wait. And it's hot, but not unbearably hot. So Union Station is pretty busy right now. And in fact, everything I've taken today has been busy. The bus was packed. There's a lot of people on the streets. It's a Friday in July, so there's a lot of people on vacation, so I assume the Empire Builder is going to be pretty busy, and it might take a while to load, which is why I'm hanging out here early in Portland. And right now we are crossing the Willamette River on the Empire Builder. This here is the Bonneville Dam and attendant electrical wiring. There's the dam. And as you can see, we've left the Portland area and the terrain is already getting a little bit drier. And that will continue as we go east on the Columbia River Gorge on the Empire Builder. So this is one of the better Amtrak routes as far as scenery goes through the Columbia River Gorge on the Empire Builder. Interestingly enough, I've taken a lot of Amtrak routes, but there's only 3 routes I've taken more than once or twice, which is this, the Amtrak Cascades, obviously, which I take almost every week, and the Coast Starlight. And even today on the Empire Builder, I'm not going that far out. It goes all the way to Chicago, but I'm not. Anyway, so it's a nice ride through the Columbia River Gorge. Late afternoon, and it's actually not that crowded, so doing fine, and I'll have my own seat tonight to sleep in, it seems like. There's some windmills up on the hill. And right across from there, right across the river, this is Arlington, Oregon. Its 2 major industries right now are wind power, and also Oregon has a large, most of Oregon's solid waste disposal is near Arlington. It's a town of about 1,000 people, and on the Empire Builder as we go through the Columbia River area, towns are few and far between. So right here, this is the bridge between Washington and Oregon. On the other side of the bridge is Umatilla. And so we'll still be following the river for a while, but that's probably the last we'll see of Oregon. Now all we can see is this wall. So water pressure tends to be too much or too little on the train sometimes. Today it's too much, but I have my water. So right now we're looking across the Columbia River, but we're looking into Washington. So this is past where the Columbia River has turned north and is no longer the border. And it's only because right now it's the middle of July, still close to the solstice, that we can see this. Normally it would be very late at night when the train went through here. I am in Pasco, Washington. It's just after sunset, 8:30, sometime after 8:30. Pasco's in the Tri-Cities in eastern Washington. And basically I'm just getting off to stretch my legs before getting back on the train. This will maybe be my last update because light is fading. Last update for the night. But yeah, we're going to continue east on from here. Pasco, Washington. It's kind of hot out too. Right now we are in a very long tunnel. And now we're back out in the open. So we've left the deepest part of the mountains, and there's some buildings and houses here, so I think we're pretty close to Whitefish. The GPS on my phone isn't working very well, so I don't actually know where we are, but I think we're getting close to Whitefish. So we're 20 minutes outside of Whitefish.
I either expect someone new to be sitting next to you or possibly get moved with another single passenger on the train so we could accommodate some of these large families and groups getting on. We are going to get a lot of people on at these next two stops, so if you are a single passenger traveling by yourself, keep that seat next to you open. Or even maybe expect to be sitting next to someone, another single passenger. Like I said, we got a large families getting on here. We're going to do our best to accommodate them, have them sit together, so if we have to move you with another single passenger, don't think we're picking on you. Just need to use all the seats we can here. Thank you.
So right now we're coming into Whitefish Station. They said that 70 people were getting on at the next station. Luckily I'm getting off at the next station. But pretty busy place. Whitefish is the busiest Amtrak station in Montana. And Whitefish is a nice place, and I wish I could spend some time here. I've been here many times before, but not today. So we've left Whitefish, and we're close to Columbia Falls, and then past that is West Glacier. And now it's behind those trees. That was one of the forks of the Flathead River, which comes out of Glacier. So I just got off the Empire Builder here in West Glacier, Montana. There's actually a family group of 24 people getting on. But I'm getting off, and I have all of Glacier Park, Glacier National Park. And this is West Glacier. We are not actually inside of the park right now. But this is where the park entrance is, right there. So, wow, I mean, here I am. And we're gonna see a lot today. I'm kind of tired, you know, I only slept 3 or 4 hours on the train, but I am full of energy. So let's see what's out there. So right here, we're pulling off of the highway. This highway would go back to Kalispell, the Whitefish area. And this right here is going to the Sun Road, very famous road. Right here, it is not quite as beautiful and scenic as it could be, but it's gonna get a lot nicer. And here's the road that leads to Glacier National Park. So I'll be walking for a while, and right now I'm just gonna be walking by the side of the road, but it does get better, is the hope. So this is West Glacier Village. We are in the park, but there is a small commercial district, tourist-oriented buildings. There's a gas station, there's a small grocery store. Obviously though, like, I've been on the train for 12 hours at least. And so right now I'm just like stretching my legs and moving. And then keep on walking towards, you know, no offense, but this is not what I came to West Glacier to see. So, you know, when I made this video, the parts of it might not be of interest to everybody. You know, the train journey might not interest people who want to know about the park and vice versa. But one reason I did that is, you know, I've said before, nature is not a place you go, and one of the things is a lot of times natural areas, beautiful scenic areas in the US are kind of just portrayed as magical places. You magically arrive there, and I want to show the reality of what it is to get here. You know, this is not a magical location. I did not step through a magical wardrobe to get here. And also, like, what the effect, you know, most national parks a lot of times are built around cars. So I wanted to show like what that does and kind of the contrast between the romanticism of you're out in nature and, you know, then you have this four-lane highway interchange and all this traffic. Okay, I'm going to stop being grumpy about that for a minute to show the beautiful. I think this is one of the forks of the Flathead River. So very soon, you know, I will be getting to a place that I came here to see. But I did want to like show what this area looks like in context, that this isn't just something, you know, totally removed from everywhere. Okay, well, I will keep that in mind as I continue up this road. So, vehicle reservation required, doesn't apply to me. I'll just be walking along the side of the road through the gates. And I think there might actually be a trail somewhere, but on the main road, as you can come in, you can see there's no type of sidewalk or path. You know, and kind of the irony there, you know, people will come here and like hike out in wilderness conditions with nothing but the gear on the back. But the idea that like somebody might like walk in on a sidewalk is considered, I guess, ludicrous. I guess I'm kind of cranky. I didn't sleep much this morning. There's also bear habitat, which I'm very aware of. Ironically though, like, probably might be at more danger of getting bitten by a tick. There was a fee for entering the park. There was a $20 fee, which gave me 7 days of access. Thing is, I'm only here for 12 hours. And I guess that's fair. And I actually said, well, as long as I'm paying $20 as a foot passenger to get in, could you do something about this? You know, so that's just another sign of like, national parks are not meant for people to experience, more or less. So here is a bike path. It is 1.6 miles to Apgar Village. And like I've often said, when I, you know, go on trips, on the map, it looked like it was pretty short from West Glacier into the park. 1.6 miles is not obviously a very vigorous hike. We have a nice paved path, but it was a little bit more than I thought it would be. So I've been walking along for a while now. I guess I should be having fun. Mostly thinking about all the better places I could be, like empty lot behind a Dollar Tree or something. A lot of people have escaped the bounds of society, or they're experiencing what it's like to be alone in nature, aren't they? I've just been wandering around this for a while. At least with this fog, this lake, Lake McDonald, goes as far as the eye can see right now. Here's Lake McDonald. I've decided to kind of reset. I don't know how many of my earlier comments I'll leave in. I was pretty disappointed when I came to Glacier. They charged me $20 to get in. And what disappoints me about that is that's for 7 days. I'm only here for 12 hours. So I'm kind of upset I just didn't do my research. But also, like, if I was coming in for a car, coming in by car, that's $35 for a 7-day pass. So what that does is it really incentivizes people to come in here with all their toys. And there is a lot of parking lots and campgrounds that are have a noisy and obnoxious footprint close to the entrance. And what I did is I looked at the map and I'm like, well, I shouldn't ruin my own day over, you know, parking lots near the entrance. But it is a good point that, you know, national parks really do incentivize coming in with a lot of toys, having a big footprint, and coming in from far distances and staying for a long time. And so, you know, I think those are all fair points, and I did have a reason to be annoyed, but no reason to let it ruin my day. And there is a shuttle bus for free, or it's not free, I'm paying for it. So I'm going to go and take that shuttle bus and see if I can see some other parts of the park. Right near, I'm close to the Apgar campground and the visitor center. I'll be returning there in a minute. Needless to say, all of the garbage cans or trash bins in Glacier are bear-proof. Now in this area, bears are a little bit shy about people, so they might be less common, but bears are also very enthusiastic about food, and there's a lot of people here dropping crumbs. So, you know, there are bears, and I'm even aware that, like, when I'm eating, like, are the crumbs that are falling from my mouth, are those dangerous? I hope not. You know, I'm trying to contain anything like that. Okay, well, we will continue on. So right now I'm just kind of wandering around in these loops, trying to figure out how to get out of here, really. Maybe I should go back that way, I don't know. So there's the parking lot by the Apgar Visitor Center. Looks like there's several hundred cars there. To put that in perspective, the park is several hundred square miles. I don't know the exact size, but it's at least 100 because it's more than 10 by 10 miles. So, you know, that averages out. You know, that parking lot looks big here, but that's for a big park. Now, that's the rational way I can look at it, but does this kind of rub me the wrong way? Yeah, it does. Thank you for continuing to listen to me complain. Like, we have a shuttle, but there also is a line, and I don't know if all these people will fit in this shuttle. Let's find out. So also, it looks like there's road construction going on here. All dirt and gravel for 30 miles or something.
Here.
So we got off of that bus. I was actually asleep, and now I'm on this bus. Smaller little van. This is a little bit more fun than I was having earlier.
I mean, like the smoke release is cleared away a little bit.
Yeah.
Earlier.
So we are at Logan Pass. I'm actually on the other side of the Continental Divide. First time since 2014 that's been true. And as you can see, it continues. It is busy up here. This little shuttle bus brought us up here. So I'm walking up this path. Still continues to be a busy day. A lot of people hiking today, and I'm one of them. So also right here, I don't know the exact elevation of the pass. I believe it's something like 2 kilometers, 6,000 feet, might be more. Not the type of place that gets you immediately gasping for breath with altitude sickness, but less oxygen than I'm used to.
As long as you're doing the best you can.
This counts, yeah.
And there we can see some bighorn sheep.
Have you seen any bear along the trail? Well,
So you can see right here, the rills, the little streams are coming directly out of snowmelt. This time of year, most of the snow is melted, but there's still enough snow fields and probably enough groundwater and stuff that they're still being freshly fed. As you can see, there's many of these little rills cutting through this rocky upland meadow. By the way, people, don't do what these two are doing. Yourself to go off trail. It causes erosion, also is dangerous. That's bad park etiquette. Okay. Or me being grumpy today. So I've seen a couple of animals here that are not very afraid of people. And while that might be cute, that's also kind of a bad sign. Animals should be timid around people, especially large groups of people, not become too accustomed. And that's more opinions from me. So I've reached Hidden Lake. Well, I haven't actually reached the lake because this is closed due to danger of bears. An ever-present danger in Glacier National Park. Although to put that in perspective, a lot more people die from their own decisions than from a bear's decision. But in this case, the trail is closed, so I will be returning this way. It took me, I think, about an hour to get up here, something like that. So I'm heading back down. There is a little bit of rain, and as you can see, the trail is still very busy. There were some peals of thunder. I've lived in Montana long enough to know that even though it's the middle of July, you know, you get up to 7,000 feet of altitude, things can get pretty cold, and it could even conceivably start snowing. Luckily, as you can see, I'm still on a busy trail. I'm close to the lot, but I think I didn't think everything through as far as how the weather could change here. And down at the valley, or what passes for the valley, it's still probably 80s or at least high 70s. So once I get down there, I'll probably dry off soon. Otherwise, I'll be riding the Amtrak in wet clothing. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep continuing down. And this is definitely one of those hikes, and I've had many of them. I don't know how I got up even this far, and I went further than that when you look at how far down that parking lot is. Because I'm carrying a pack, I'm not used to altitude. I spent 12 hours trying to sleep in a train seat, but I have energy right now. guy has a lot of energy too. This is at least the type of misery I signed up for. Hungry, tired, wet. That's all funner than negotiating endless parking lots. I'm back in the parking lot, changed my shirt, drying off, and I'm on another shuttle going back to Avalanche Creek, then back to Apgar where hopefully it'll be toasty. And I should probably clean my lens. Right now I'm at Avalanche Creek, I believe is the name. I got off the shuttle bus here and I could have transferred, but I wanted to sit down and relax and eat and drink for a while, and this is a beautiful place to do it. And this also shows where some of my criticism might have been a little bit harsh, because, you know, I'm talking about the big parking lots and those types of areas. Well, those are right on the other side of those trees. And you can leave those and you can still find a place that's natural, with solitude, not a lot of noise. I really have to decide how I'm going to edit this, because I've had a mix of emotions and experiences here. And right now I'm feeling really good. It's still only a little bit after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I still have another 6 hours to get back to the Apgar Visitor Center and then walk to Glacier, walk to West Glacier. And right now I'm warming up. It did go back to being a pretty hot temperature, so I'm warming up and drying off, and I'm just going to sit here for a while. So I'm still in the Avalanche Lake area. We have this boardwalk path. I do like boardwalks. And this is either the trail to, just called the Cedar Trail, or it's the trail to Avalanche Lake. The Cedar Trail is a 0.7 mile loop, so I just thought I would knock it out since I came here anyway. And then it's 2 miles to Avalanche Lake, which on another day I could do that without a problem. But today I have done a lot already, so I'm just going to kind of take it easy right here. And there, again, this is a creek that joined the creek that I was just at. I haven't really mentioned it, but there's obviously several different ecosystems in this park. When I was up at Logan Pass, there was a lot of trees and crumholts, and you know, we really had kind of a meadow ecosystem. It gets pretty severe there, very short growing season. This right here, if I didn't know, this to me feels like a Pacific Northwest forest, a little bit more humid and a lot more undergrowth and taller trees, although not as tall and wide as they would be in the Pacific Northwest. Speaking of this being a Pacific Northwest forest, those look like trilliums or something very close to trillium, which is, you know, really typical of Oregon. Not even so much in the Cascades as in the Coast Range. I mean, they really like, you know, moist climates, moist temperate climates. So yeah, this looks a lot like a Pacific Northwest forest. And we are in the Pacific Northwest in the sense we are, you know, these waters are draining into the Columbia. So, you know, even though Montana's a mountain state, it is in the Pacific Northwest as far as that goes, at least this part of it west of the Continental Divide. We also have plaques with haiku along this track. Not something we had when we were up at the roof of the continent. And this is the type of thing that makes this trip all worth it. We have this waterfall here. I actually managed to sleep through a lot of this. So I'm back at the Apgar Visitor Center, and I actually managed to sleep a lot of the way back, even though I was going down this rutted road in this bus. And you know, after seeing the park, some of the stuff I said this morning, I was really grouchy. Some of which I'm not even going to include in the video, so you don't even know what I'm apologizing for. But on the other hand, you know, it did not come out of nowhere, because, you know, this park is really centered around cars, and there are environmental and just aesthetic prices, like, you know, at the Logan Pass, where you have 300 cars parked next to a, you know, beautiful outdoor area. And right now I have 3.5 hours before I return, before my train comes, and I'll make a little bit more summation later of what I saw today. So this is a short trail that I passed by on my way here as I wanted to get into the park. As it is now, I have 3 hours, so I might as well take a loop. Appreciate things as much as I can get. This is McDonald Creek. This is the creek that drains Lake McDonald. It's only a couple miles long between Lake McDonald and the fork of the Flathead River, and this is not a path. Where is the path? After everything I've done today, don't want to get lost and or hurt, like right next to the park entrance road. That would be silly. I don't really know why I'm doing this. I could have just stayed on the trail. After everything I've seen today, I don't know if this 0.7 mile loop through, you know, scrubby underbrush, invasive plants is really necessary, but for some reason I wanted to top off my adventure meter and also show, you know, what the park looks like at what to it are its lower altitudes. So that was just a short little loop, and also to tire myself out and kill some of the time, because you know, I still do have to wait another 2 hours for that train. This is also, somewhat ironically, the most alone I've been all day. One of the things about this trip is it's kind of been stressful to be around a lot of people, most of whom were, you know, appropriately enjoying the outdoors, but there were some people who were kind of pushing the rules a little bit. So here, finally in Glacier, I find some solitude. Also, because this looks like just a normal county park, and the terrain and plants look closer to like what it would look like in Oregon, it feels more real in a way that Logan, you know, Logan Pass and the Hidden Lake area didn't. That was so extravagant, I didn't even process it as a real experience. This to me feels like a much more, I don't know, just something about it, it feels real to me. That's an osprey. I'll have to check later, see if that's a bald eagle. Strangely enough today, other than a couple of like robins and stuff, I have not actually seen a substantial number of birds. Okay, this is not where I want to be. I'm going to turn around and go this way. Well, after that grueling 0.7 mile loop, I'm back on the main trail. The evening is cooling off, but it's dry, pleasantly warm. Actually, right now I feel better than I felt all day. Let's see if I feel good enough to not get bored and frustrated while I'm waiting for the train. It feels like I've been walking on this path further to exit in the evening than when I was coming in the morning. So you may or may not see, but there is a black bear there. So I am backing up and leaving the black bear to be. And black bears are not, do not like fights. So I'm just backing up and he is just staying in place and or running away. And both the squirrels and the deer, a little bit more easy to deal with. Traffic, also difficult to deal with. I reported a bear, but here that's not really a big deal. Anyway, this is a perfect time walking along the highway to, you know, sum up my feelings, my findings, such as they are. So, like, of course, there were parts of this trip that were really spectacular. You can't get to Logan Pass every day. I kind of want to balance that, though, with the fact, you know, there's two issues. It's kind of stressful. A lot of places were crowded, not very pretty when you have all these big parking lots. And there's also an environmental cost to it. You know, the lack of aesthetics is both hurts others and ourselves, you know, and also it's there's an environmental cost to this. So, you know, I feel good that I came here finally after, you know, a couple of different things happening. But I guess like my point is like, you know, there's some prestige attached to Glacier National Park, and it is spectacular. But like the costs of it, both to myself and to others, you know, if I could just like find a nice Forest Service turnoff somewhere like close to where I live, where I could bicycle to or something, I might have enjoyed that more than I enjoyed today, or enjoyed it in a different way. And Oregon is full of places. So I guess what I'd say is, like, if you really have like a life goal to come to Glacier, well, it's not that hard to get here. But, you know, like before you come here and add to the environmental burden and take away from other people's enjoyment because the trails get crowded, consider like a no-name park, or just, you know, a nice little walk alongside the river, a state park, county park and stuff. You know, because yeah, sometimes it's worth it, but really think about that. Think about all the costs, because there's a lot easier things to do that don't lead to this. Well, I'm leaving the park. I'm crossing the river back to West Glacier. You know, my leaving the park kind of came in phases, but I guess this is where it's really finally leaving. Although maybe I won't really finally leave until I get on the train leaving West Glacier.